Good morning, everybody. The Jag is here. I know it's been a while since you've seen any work on the Jag. It's been a while since I've done anything on the Jag. In fact, it's been a while since I've even driven the Jag. It's been out of MOT for probably like 3 weeks or a month now. I've just not drove the car, to be fair. I've just been so busy with everything else, and I just don't think I've ever fell in love with the Jag. I probably would have done if they put a decent diff in the car, but the diff is just absolutely terrible in the car. It just makes you not want to drive it properly. It's so inconsistent. It basically acts as an open diff, which sometimes locks at the worst time. So it really doesn't give you much confidence driving the car properly, like with traction fully off and stuff. And to even turn traction off, you've got to hold them up for like 10-15 seconds. Sorry, I had a tooth out last week, so if I don't sound like a full shilling, that's why. So yeah, the Jag's here. Now, I've been toying with selling it for about a month now, and I think we are going to do it. I just don't drive the car that much, and when I do drive it, I just drive it just for cruising. I don't actually drive it like a fun car, like my C63 or my M3. I just don't drive it like one of those cars. And it's a shame because it's such a good engine and it's such a really nice car. When I've got this that's £700 tax a year and the X5 that's £700 tax a year, and I don't drive this, it's kind of just like, ugh. Paying that much tax and I'm paying that much for a car that I don't really drive that much. I want it to be an enthusiastic car. And although it sounds amazing and it's comfortable and the speakers are really good, it's more of a cruising car. So anyway, I think we are going to sell the Jag. But to sell the Jag, we've got to fix quite a few things. If you remember, a couple months ago my thermostat broke, and I've just not changed it. I've not had time to change it. I did change it, and then I got sent the wrong thermostat, and it was one of the worst jobs I've ever done on a car. If you remember that video, oh my god, what a horrible video. I did the whole job, and then it was leaking because I got sent the wrong thermostat. It was like a millimetre out, so it weren't sealing. Anyway, I've been to Jaguar, and I've got an OEM thermostat. And also, since the thermostat went, it took along the expansion tank with it, so the sensors actually broke inside the expansion tank. So it keeps saying coolant's low, even though it's not. So the sensors inside here, you can't actually change the sensor or the float independently. You have to buy the whole expansion tank. And also there's a small crack in mine, because obviously it's plastic, because all new manufacturers use plastic for everything now. There's actually a small crack in it. It's got a tiny coolant leak coming from it. So we've got a new one of these. This is not an OEM one, but it's from a reputable Jag specialist, so I'm hoping it'll be fine. I've done this job before. It was horrible. It was an absolute bitch of a job. Now we're going to do it again. Right, we've got the gazebo up because every time I work on a damn car, it rains. So now we're fighting back against shit British weather. Huge thank you, Rock Awnings, for supplying this gazebo. It's been an absolute lifesaver. I've been taking it to all the drift events. I can just pop it up whenever I think it's going to rain. Huge thank you to Rock Awnings. They're actually giving me a discount code for all you guys to use. I know a few of you have messaged me about it. It's Rock Lee. It's on the screen now, and you can get £25 off any gazebo on the whole website. I think it's that. I'm pretty sure it's that. Anyway, thank you, Rock Awnings. Let's go on with this shit job, for God's sake. Here is the engine bay. Here is the expansion tank, which we need to use. Now, I've had a bit of a coolant leak for bloody ages, where it's like that minuscule. After like 500 miles, you'll notice it's dropping a little bit. But the thing is like you can have it running here and you won't see a leak at all. Only when it gets to operating temperature, it must open a tiny little crack underneath the expansion tank. So I'm guessing it's just perished a tiny little bit, and that crack's just opening up under the heat. It's expanding under the heat, and it just drips. So I saw it one day. I'll try and insert the video if I've still got it there. But what an engine this is. The thermostat is sticking right at the front down here. There's about 8 different coolant hoses which go onto it. It's an absolute nightmare to get on and off. But let's just start taking off the intake and these little bits, and you should be able to see it. Right, once you've got these plastics out of the way, you can get the air box out of the way. Then there is the thermostat. Now, it doesn't look too bad, but the clips are an absolute nightmare. Oh my god. I have invested in a new tool which should make this job a lot easier. I know last time I changed a lot of the clips for Jubilee clips, ones that were just impossible to get to, so I have made it a little bit easier for myself this time around, but it's still going to be a bit of a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. Well, hopefully it's not. We'll see. Hopefully this new tool is going to be great. This is the new tool, a hose clamp plier clip thing. Now, I know most people think, well, how have you not survived this far without one of these? To be honest, every time I've used one of these, they've actually not been that good help. But you never know. Today might be different. Today might be different. So there's tons of pipes, and the worst thing, there's tons of these plastic pipes which obviously do not bend. So this is absolutely terrifying dealing with these, because these are just totally in the way, and you can't move them out of the way. If you snap them, because I've snapped them on cars before, everything's a nightmare. Yeah, it's annoying. I'm pretty sure these do move a little bit out of the way. That's all you've got. That's all you've got. And there is the the thing. So let's just let's use this, and for what's the first time ever, and see if it's good. Oh, okay, that was good. That was the easiest pipe of them all, but other than that, that was good. That was good. Now I remember this one here calls me all, well actually no, actually it's the bottom one underneath. That low one underneath calls me all the hassle, but this one was an absolute nightmare as well. So I have made it a lot easier myself by using a Jubilee clip. Now it was these little fuckers down here which literally made my life an absolute living hell. So I'm hoping that with this tool, see what I mean? We meet again. Lower Jag XF thermostat hose clip. And I know everyone's saying in the comments, oh, this is where you need the one with the bendy hose. That never works. That thing never ever works. Don't even suggest that tool. It's crap. No way. No way, I've got it. I've got it. Okay, fair enough. These tools are alright. Now there's a certain way to pull it off, I remember, because there's two holes going down, one going sideways and one going up. So it's kind of like wedged in there by all of them. So there's a certain way to get them off. And I can't remember how that was, but I think I'm gonna pull this top hose off. There we go, let's let the coolant drip out a bit. And then from there, I think we can pull it up from the other one and then away from this one. And I think last time there's actually like there's a slide pin in here where you put a screwdriver and pop out. I don't think I'm gonna touch that because last time it popped off and it took me like an hour to find it and I wasn't happy at all. So I think I'm just gonna go for the lower hose. Now I've got this tool, I think I'm gonna try and get on the lower hose and pull it away from there. Someone's been a genius and put the clip face in the engine. So I'm praying that my magical tool will get in there. Actually, no, that's not going to work. Right, guys, we're going to have to just go for the pin and pray it don't ping into another dimension like last time. Okay, I've got the pin. The pin is hand in hand. Oh, does it just stay there? Does it not come all the way off? Oh, I kind of want it to come all the way off. Oh, right, nope, it's staying there. Okay. Now, remember, this was a bastard to get off. These two bits to separate was an absolute bitch. There's two plastic bits. Manufacturers, why do you do this? Ugh. Luckily, because I've had it off, honestly, the first time getting this off, which has been on there for 10 years, it was honestly a nightmare. I've got it. I know this doesn't seem like it's took me long, but God, done it. This first time doing that was an absolute nightmare. Jesus Christ. So here's the new one from Jag. This is the old one now. The one we got last time was aftermarket, and these two bits like were the slightest difference. I think these two are. Hang on, these two are fucking different as well. See the tiny size difference? It's like a millimetre difference, and that meant, because it wasn't a hose clamp, this bit wasn't a hose clamp, it just push fits, that when I tightened it, it was fine. When I tightened it, it moved it a tiny little bit and it leaked. Now this one looks exactly the same. It literally looks like it's a tiny bit smaller. Right, I've got the thermostat back on. There was a bit, this one didn't go in anywhere near as tight as that one did, like that little millimetre difference. So what I've done, I'll literally just put a layer of sealant just inside it, just to kind of hopefully put that 1 millimetre up. And I'm going to let that sealant dry in there before I put any water in, and hopefully that just expands it a tiny little bit so it doesn't leak out. Because if it starts leaking out from there with an OEM one, because I bought this like 3 months ago as well, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And this is why I hate when they use plastic on plastic. Just stop doing it. Just stop doing plastic on plastic. Just use a fucking rubber hose. Like, you rubber hose there, rubber hose there, rubber hose there, and all of a sudden here you don't use rubber hose. Why? Just use a fucking rubber hose so you can just tighten it down. It's so frustrating. But let's start changing this expansion tank over, and hopefully we don't have any other issues with this one as well. Honestly, I pray to God that doesn't leak. But oh, is that it? Oh. How to change your coolant expansion tank? Tools you'll need: 10mm socket. So is that literally it? Oh yeah, I've got to get the hose off there. So this is the sensor. So how these sensors work is there's a little float inside here, little plastic float. Let me get the old part and I'll show you. So how it works is, see that little float in there? See it going up and down? So obviously when the coolant comes, when the coolant's up, it pushes that float high, and then it doesn't think that there's no coolant. But after a time, what I've heard is that these floats, they become porous. I know, right? Something that's meant to float doesn't float anymore. So what happens is it sinks, and then it constantly keeps telling the sensor that you're low on coolant, even though you're not low on coolant. And another thing about Jag, you can't buy these sensors alone. You have to buy a whole expansion tank. This is the old expansion tank. There's the old sensor. I actually can't even see where the crack is, because there are like manufacturing lines and stuff. But yeah, I can't actually see where the crack is. They say it only comes when it's really hot. How tight is this as well? They don't even come with a bloody cap. You have to buy the cap separately. Did I buy? I thought I did buy a cap. Did I not buy a cap? Ah, yeah, I did. Because also another problem with these is that the caps after a while actually start they stop sealing, and then it creates a coolant leak from there as well. So yeah, I've had to buy another cap, which doesn't come with the fucking expansion tank. Right, this is getting a joke now. Like, look at this, the build quality of Jag parts. Like, watch this, right? Obviously, you know, brand new sensor, brand new expansion tank. Right, we pop this clip on. Yeah, we pop the clip on. Rotating clip. Right, it's dark and the lighting's crap. I've left this for like 4 hours now, so hopefully that sealant should be dry. So do the bleeding procedure. What we've got to do is we've got to top it up until coolant comes out of this bleed nipple, and then we can start the engine. Now it's okay so far. I'm just praying it's fine. We'll only know that though once we start it up. Right, we're full with coolant. Let's fire it up and pray. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get on Carly, and I'm going to get up live data, and I'm going to check the two coolant temperature sensors and make sure that the thermostat's working and that the fan's kicking in as well. So first of all, we've got no issues in the Jag, which is awesome. So I can only get access to one of the coolant temperature sensors, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but it's fine, we can figure out. So what we're going to do is we're going to just basically put it in like an overheating scenario. So we're going to keep it here ticking on idle. The thermostat should open between like 90 and 100 degrees. I know that these cars run about 97 degrees. That's the average running temp for this car, 97 degrees. At 100 the fan kicks in, and at 110 the fan kicks in even more. So we should be sitting at between 90 and 100. That's like a normal running temperature for this car. So we're just going to sit here and just make sure it doesn't creep over that. That means that the thermostat is working properly and everything's good. And I keep coming back here and checking for leaks down here, and there aren't any, which is awesome. So I'm super happy about that. We're not getting any leaks from down there. So just another test you can do is if you find the hose which is after the thermostat, just give that a touch, just make sure that's hot. If that's hot, the thermostat is open. So the thermostat's open, and it's good news. So hot air is now getting to the radiator. So obviously we know the thermostat's working. Now we want to make sure that it's all bled properly and there's no airlocks or anything like that. So what we're going to do, we're going to sit here and just wait until it keeps going up and up and up, and then see if it's maintaining its temperature. So it's going back down now. So it went up to 95, it's going back down to 93. So we're just going to sit here and just let it get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And it will either internally maintain its temperature through the thermostat, or if it needs some extra help, it's going to kick the fan in. But if there was an airlock, it would just keep overheating and just keep climbing and climbing. So like I say, we're going back up to 94 now, so let's let it reach 95, and let's see if it drops itself down again. Right, I've had the car idling for about 15-20 minutes now, and it keeps jumping between 93 degrees and 95 degrees, which means to me there's no airlocks and it's regulating its temperature. So the thermostat's working okay, and I'm happy with that, because we can finally put this issue behind us and get this car sold.